Good morning. That's what I like to hear. Sound of excited voices. Well, welcome to Wellspring. Today is March 3rd, 2024, and my name is Edward Burlbaugh, and I'm part of your Sunday service team. First, we have a few announcements. Early Birds meets Sunday mornings at 9:30 on Zoom. The link is in the weekly email, and it's also on the website. So join us if you can. In March, our upcoming speakers are today. We have Jeanne Gehringer, and then Brian Kurtz on the 10th. I'll be speaking on the 17th. On the 24th, that's Palm Sunday, we have Reverend Sandy Scott. And on Easter, the 31st, is Reverend Kamatara. Our Thursday evening group continues to meet every week at 7 p.m. on Zoom and in the social hall. Those who wish to join us in the social hall, you're always welcome. Right now we're watching a variety of videos from Gaia. And then there's always a lively discussion that's brought up by the speaker in the video. Today, the New Horizons Band is going to perform at Atkinson Recital Hall at 3 p.m. By the way, admission is free, and Judy is a co-conductor of that group, and that will include songs, it's called At the Movies, songs from the Disney at the Movies, Bridge on the River Kwai, Beetlejuice, How the West Was Won, and many more. Sunday, March 10th, the author Brian Kurtz will be speaking here at Wellspring, and there will be a workshop after the service. Now, in Early Birds, we're reading his book, Access the Real You, and his workshop in the afternoon will be what he calls the Real You Conversation. We will be providing a salad luncheon. However, if someone chooses to bring other goodies, they're always welcome. And well, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, his Sunday message will be from the book, and then, like I said, he has this Real You conversation that he will be presenting as part of the workshop. And I believe there's an offering of $30 for that. March 16th, Jeanne will be doing another dowsing class. That's from 1:30 to 4:30, and the fee is $25. And just to let you know, many of you know who Brian Lotman is. He spoke here at Wellspring and did a workshop a couple of different times a year ago and a year and 3 months ago. And he is now coming back to town, and he will be at the Center for Spiritual Living, and he's doing his afternoon satsang from 1 to 2:30. Well, I have conflicting information here. It's at 1 o'clock, though. That much I know for sure, and I believe it's only an hour and a half. At any rate, Reverend Bonnie asked us to invite everyone here at Wellspring if they choose to go, and she said there will be a potluck following their service prior to his 1 o'clock satsang, and everyone is welcome. So enough of that. Lastly, our prayer team remains ready to serve and support you. We do have a prayer box in the back with some forms that you can fill out. I recommend you give those to me so I can bring them to our Tuesday afternoon prayer time with the other organizations here in town. And the suggestion is that you sit in your quiet place at 4:15 when we begin our prayer for you, because we're really praying with you, and we know that the power of prayer knows no limits. So now for our invocation. Beloveds, we are all truly beloveds. As we feel the support and the presence of Spirit here today in this very room, we know that everyone participating in today feels that and tunes into that Spirit which is expressing itself from each and every one, through each and every one of us. We also know that Spirit is expressing through our musicians, our speaker today, and actually through each and every one of us. So we do give thanks that we are here today. We give thanks for the presence and the energy of each and every one of us. And we know that all is in divine order. All is well in the kingdom. And so it is. So please stand if you are able for our Song of Joy. And I'm wondering who's going to be leading this, because I have no clue how this one goes. We all know it. Okay. Well, I'm going to put the microphone toward you all. You may be seated. So please read with me our vision, mission, and affirmation. And if you can't see it up here, it's always in the handout for the month. So our vision: to elevate spiritual consciousness in our world. Our mission: to support individual spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. And our affirmation: even when the winds of change are blowing, I stand strong in my faith and my community. Wellspring is my home base for connection and principle that keeps me steady when things seem shaky. I am resilient and rooted in truth each day. And now we have special music from a special guest that we haven't seen in a while, but always glad to hear you.
Thank you.
And see you as well.
Yay! Thank you. Ooh. Clapping before, that's always nice. Last Sunday, I heard that Randy Sparks passed away on February 11th. He was a friend of Bob's, and For those who you don't know him, you might know that he was the founder of the New Christy Minstrels. He was involved with many, many folk musicians, including the very beginnings of John Denver. But he made it into his 90s, so that's a very good thing. And I think actually he was best known for this song that I'm going to share with you today because I love the message and I want to do it in honor of him. Today, while the blossoms still cling to the vine, I'll taste your strawberries, I'll drink your sweet wine. A million tomorrows shall all pass away ere I forget all the joy that is mine today. Oh, I'll be a dandy and I'll be a rover. You'll know who I am by the song that I sing. I'll feast at your table, I'll sleep in your clover. Who knows what tomorrow will bring? Today, while the blossoms still cling to the vine, I'll taste your strawberries, I'll drink your sweet wine. A million tomorrows shall all pass away ere I forget all the joy that is mine today. I can't be contented with yesterday's glory. I can't live on promises, winter to spring. Today is my moment, and now is my story. I'll laugh and I'll cry and I'll sing. Join me. Today, while the blossoms still cling to the vine, I'll taste your strawberries, I'll drink your sweet wine. A million tomorrows shall all pass away ere I forget all the joy that is mine today. Thank you.
Shall we dance? Thank you, Melody. So today's reading is from this little book called Creative Ideas. It is by Ernest Holmes. So it's called My Thought is Inspired. And he starts everything, every one of his little sections off. This is Ernest Holmes with a Bible quote, and this one is from Deuteronomy. And the Lord, He it is that doth go before thee. He says, we shall believe that God is the invisible partner in our lives and affirm that divine love goes before us and prepares the way. We should permit ourselves to be guided, for there is something within us, deep at the center of our being, which knows what we ought to do and how we ought to do it. If we listen to the divine presence, it will direct us and guide us. Right thoughts and ideas will come to us, and we will be compelled to express them in our experience. And he has a little then affirmation. I know how to meet every situation in calm trust and with a complete conviction that divine intelligence is guiding me. I am always impelled into right action. I wish to do only that which is constructive and life-giving. Therefore, I know that everything I do is prospered. Everything I touch is quickened into a newness of life and action. Every constructive purpose of my life is fulfilled. I have a deep sense of inner calm, a complete assurance that all is well. That same intelligence that guides the earth around the sun is now acting as a law of good in my personal experience. I do accept divine guidance and thank God for the inspiration, joy, and harmony that are now being established as my experience. So with that, I am pleased to invite Jeanne Gehringer up for our talk today. Thank you, Jeanne.
That's okay. Oh, I'm on. Well, I am very glad I wasn't on when we were singing because that is not a gift God gave me. And hello, everybody in Zoom land and in person. It's always so good to be with you all. I find myself at what my mother would have said is an in-between stage right now. Feel like I've completed what I was put on this earth to do. And I'm analyzing whether the intentions that used to underlie my life are still relevant. We're all at that age where we have checked off a lot of the done boxes and are pondering what's next while we are still on this pretty blue planet. Some of us are fairly surprised to be still walking upon this planet. Our intentions may have changed over the years or may need a change. Are any of you in the same place as I am? Oh, I see a lot of nodding heads and a few hands. So today's topic is living with intention. I thought it a topic worthy of talking about today, but not a one-sided talk. It's something that you ponder, think upon, ruminate on. First, let's talk a little bit about intentions versus goal. A goal is a destination, a place to move to, a thing you decide to do. I have a goal to lose 10 pounds. That's a goal. Intention is how you walk to that place, a motivation that guides you towards that goal. I find many people don't go to that level in thinking, or for most of us, we probably have. But that is a very good distinction to make between goals and intentions. The motivation that brings us to that goal. So today's topic is living with intention, remembering our soul's calling and doing what matters. I'm basing all this, most of the talk today, on the wonderful book by Marianne Radmacher titled Live with Intention. And here it is. Many of you may have read it. Who's read it or seen it or is familiar? Good, no preconceived notions. That's even better. My guess is today when we're done, you may want to go get yourself a copy. She wrote it about 10, 20 years ago and just rewrote it a couple of years ago after living another segment of her life to add to and to change it up a little. She's an artist, she's an author, she's an inspirational speaker. I've been drawn to her for years and years because she does two things I've always wanted to do. And maybe that is my next intention. She puts together pretty little drawings or paintings along with real nice little quotes and has a long line of posters, greeting cards, all types of things that once you look for her name on it, you'll see you have been seeing her all along. And that idea that I'm ruminating on for me and have been for a while to use my artistic skills and writing skills together just to put simple little things that anybody can get quickly and inexpensively that help them, that inspire them, that make a difference. So I've been paying attention to her for some years. Her poem that most people are familiar with, called Living with Intention, has been around for years and years, and it summarizes how she aspires to live her life. I have copied it and made cardstock copies to pass around for each of you. And when we get them passed around, we'll read it together. And you will probably read it and go, oh yes, I've seen this somewhere. And all you Zoom folks, when you show up, I'll leave extras here in the sanctuary or in the Friendship Hall for you to get. Have you seen it before? Okay. So let's take it from the top. Live with intention. Walk to the edge. Listen hard. Practice wellness. Play with abandon. Fail with enthusiasm. Oops, is that one different than what I've got? Give me one of those. She's added, okay. Then I'll add in here, she's added a couple of things on what I did. What I could copy is this. Before laugh, fail with enthusiasm. You like that? Yeah. Has anybody here ever failed at anything? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Was it with enthusiasm? No. Let's rewrite that, okay? Now we're to laugh. Laugh. Choose with no regret. Continue to learn. Appreciate your friends. Do what you love. Live as if this is all there is. Isn't this fantastic? So this is her daily intention. What's mine? What's yours? So intention is the heart of our spiritual practice. It's how we address ourselves. It's how we address others. My daily intention, every day, when I get up, I get a big cup of tea, and they differ. I have like 100 kinds. I love tea. I call it that time of the day, me, tea, and thee. I go out with my pendulum, my tea, some nice writings, but I sit and I greet the day. And if it's too cold, windy, or whatever, I greet it from a window. But I like to be outside. And my daily intention, looking out, is I welcome this day and everything that comes my way as an opportunity for this soul in this human body to experience life, to be life, to know source through the physical. And I honor source in all and everything. That's my daily intention. What's yours? Now, how mine started, I can honestly tell you, I don't know when on my journey I even thought to have a daily intention, other than get up and get out to work and hope it wasn't too bad or whatever, just like the rest of us. I mean, we're all of an age that what we're talking about now didn't come in when we were younger, right? But do you all remember, this is an older book, this one's even older. Do you all remember this book, Mutant Message Down Under? Yes. It was real popular a bazillion years ago, right? Okay. There was a part of it, so the idea was there was a basically professional lady who was basically hijacked by a bunch of Aborigines in Australia and had to basically give up where she was, and they took her on a walkabout for about a year, away from everything she knew or what she thought she knew. Basically stripped her down to who she really was. And in this book, there's a part where they greet the day loudly. And that's where I started my daily of, I welcome this day. I'm not as loud. I don't like to be loud. Another life, maybe. Not this one. So that's where I got that. And over the years, my daily intention has changed or added to. But it starts with welcoming the day. And remember, I said, in everything that comes at my way. And as we all know, those things can be dastardly. It can be things that just rock your soul or that challenge your spirituality. And then at night, I look back over the day and go, how did that event, how can I make that spiritual? How can I look at that, turn that, be that? So it's not negative. So it's part of my positive spiritual journey. That little practice alone should keep most folks out of bars and on the straight track. I'm not opposed to a good bar, by the way. It's easy to drift into forgetting our personal priorities, the things that animate us and deliver joy. The lifestyle of meeting others' expectations or responding to a status quo that doesn't resonate with our own intentions. Most of us are old enough, we've had lives like that. Is there anybody in here who hasn't had at least part of their life that was about resonating to others' expectations or responding to a status quo that wasn't us? I'm not going to see any hands. None of us were encouraged to be who we were. That's not the age we grew up in. I am thinking the kids of today below us are more encouraged. How can we remember what you know deeply at the soul level? Remembering our own intentions allows us more readily to embrace the things that really matter. We know our intentions, that is our talisman. Knowing your own intentional elements allows you to say yes to opportunities as appropriate, and importantly, to say no with no guilt and no regret. As we know, on my last talk, I had to learn the hard way where I should have said no. And then, if you don't listen to Spirit's whispers, it will hit you with a 2x4. I'm going to tell you a little story about when I was a kid. I was about 7, lived in Tennessee. And I remember loving the summers. I remember loving running up and down the street, and when it would rain like heck and the ditches would fill up with water and all kinds of crawdads and froggy things would come out and things would bloom and honeysuckle smelled good. And I just remember that as a wonderful, wonderful time. And down the street was a little family that my brothers and sisters and I palled around with. And the little girl, she was about maybe 4 or 5 then, I was about 7. She had little skinny, very, very white girl, very white with long, white, blonde hair, straight. She was always running around. And she was always catching bugs. Just loved catching bugs, this kid. And now her little family had a boy and a girl, just the 2 of them. And her dad and my dad worked together. Our family, we already had 2 and 2. We already had 4 kids, right? I'm 7. So we had double the size of the family. So for Christmas, she got all this really great stuff, little kitchen sets, little kitchen counters, all this stuff. Not us. I mean, we had double the kids. Are you thinking we could afford that many? I just envied that. That she had this cute little kitchen set that you could make all this stuff and do it. And then I'd go look at her kitchen set, and that little counter, little stove, little refrigerator, it was all full of jars of bugs. And it was all full of jars and bugs in different stages of living, dying, and whatever happens next. That was Chrissy. In those days, I was running around really enjoying nature, but also, and I'm going to say when I could, my mom told me later she'd find little bitty pieces of paper all over where I had made notes or where I had cut out or colored or pencil or little drawings all over. And she thought that was interesting. But my artistic knack was never encouraged at all. So that's just how it was. A bazillion years later, I'm cleaning out my garage here in Las Cruces and had NPR on, and they were doing a segment, All Things Considered or something. They're going, oh man, this is really special. This year is great. We have the 14-year, I'm going to say it wrong, circadian. We have the 14-year circadian insects coming out, and this is just fantastic. And it's a big, big event. And here we're going to interview Dr. Chris Simon with 2 PhDs all about this particular kind of insect. And I went, yay, Chrissy. You did your heart's intention. You stuck with the bugs. Isn't that fantastic? And how many of us don't get to stick? And I'm in the garage at that point cleaning out, and I had made work tables. I had put in a sink. I had put in skylights and a window, and made all kinds of devices to hold all kinds of art stuff to make myself a studio to do art. Okay? How often do I go in there and do art? I don't. We'll talk about that later. So I was so discouraged from doing art. And I'm trying to make space for it, and we will go back to that. But every time I tried to do art as a kid, if it was part of a school project, I was allowed. But if it wasn't, it's, no, you have to be doing this, you have to be doing that. All these other kids in the house, you have to take care of them. Is the ironing done? Is the housework done? Is this done? Is that done? I was actively discouraged. We'll get back. The tree is an ideal image for the partnership between intentions and goals. Goals reference remembering and doing what matters. Intentions, it's the root system, supporting everything that grows out of them. The tree trunk is representative of remembering what matters. Branches and fruit, all about doing. Intentions rooted deeply are fundamental. Intentions inform our remembering, how we consider our past, and how they underlie future choices. Being clear on your intentions enables you to be more of who you really are. I am sure everyone here has set intentions, and many of you may be in a place where you are living good intentions from you now. So this is all about getting us, whether we are getting there or need a redo, to a better place with intentions. Intentions are the soundtrack of your day. Defined or undefined, they define your day. What really matters to you? Listen to the stories that you consistently tell others. I'll let you think on that a minute. Is there a story? And I was trying to think for myself, and you all in fellowship probably let me know. Is there a story I consistently tell? I tell stories in my talks all the time about how something was discovered, or a dowsing principle, or fun stories to illuminate a point. But do you tell a story consistently to others? And what does it say about you? At this point, I'll bring up one of my brothers. He has a series of stories. They can either be about him as a lawyer, him as a Navy pilot, or him as the member of our family. The stories are all the same. He is underlooked. There's a situation where things are very bad. He is not looked at well to handle it, but his intelligence and wiliness saves the day, where everybody has to look that he was smarter and better than they were. Years ago, I remember looking at him and realizing all his stories had the same basic thing, that he was not looked at or appreciated, but he was smarter, and that he let them have it. He showed them he was. There's quite something going on under this, and he thinks he's just telling funny stories about things that happened. So look at our stories. What unbidden memories play on repeat in your mind? That's a good one, isn't it, to think about? They do just come up. Well, yeah, like, what are you doing here? Did I let that back door open again? Right? What words do you use with yourself and those closest to you? If I come in late, AKA today, for service, do I say, Jeanne, you dummy, you did it again? I go, no, I got here, it's fine. I mean, I could. I did that for years. What words do you say to yourself? How do you call yourself? Do you call yourself, oh, dummy me, I did this again? Or, okay, sweetheart, let's get off this couch and get into bed. It's time. And those closest to you. In what manner do you greet the morning and establish your plan of the day? When my sister comes to visit, we've learned to establish different regimes for both of us. Her day likes to start with turning on the news and seeing what's happening in the world. That is so against where I am, and yet it's essential to her to do that. But that's why they invented those earphone thingies and laptops, where she can go elsewhere, right? So in what manner do you greet the morning and establish the plan of the day? And you all know that if things go badly and something happens and you don't do your normal morning thing, and that you're off kilter the rest of the day. We all know that. How do you close out your day? All of the above shows your fundamental intentions are how they're manifesting in the course of the day. Do you like how it's going? Or do you want to change your direction a little? The author of the book, Marianne, is a huge advocate of writing. She loves to write. She writes beautifully. She talks about writing and observing. And those of us who are artists who have art bents in here probably have read through the studio door and other art journals on how to restart your artistic process. It's all about observing and writing. And it's very good, even if you're not a writer, when you put it down, it helps become aware of when your relationship with your intentions are in flow or they're out of kilter. In her book, in part 2, it's a self-guided course to help you remember and do what matters. I am doing it now, and it's not easy, folks. She makes you dig in and think. I am going to read you one item for you to think about, and then we'll continue on with our talk. But it will be in the back of your mind. So imagine this. Through a peculiar set of events, you know right now that just before bedtime tonight, you're going to lose your memory for 6 weeks. You will still be fundamentally you, but for 6 weeks, you'll have absolutely no long-term memory stored. Isn't it great that you get this all back in 6 weeks? We're not going into dementia here. Imagine that for support in this 6-week time period, you will gather 5 iconic things that will be accompanied by a note. The things will be a visual prompt to remind you of who you are. And the note that you will write will provide a brief explanation of why each icon is important to you. Well, let that sit in your mind as we're already thinking, what 5 things for this beautiful woman I've just met today, Melody? It might be a musical instrument or a sheet of music. Well, let that go in the back of your mind as you think about what are those 5 things. One of mine, the first one that I can always think of whenever I do this, is a pendulum, because I use that in everything I do. Now, we've been talking about intention at the personal level. Let's expand. What about intention in the company we keep, in clubs and organizations that we're all in? Do our intentions go along with theirs? And is that why with some of them we've outgrown them, or they don't seem right anymore? Let's look at their intentions. It's hard for me to leave a group. It is. I stay in well beyond where I should. And it's, as I look and read this, it's the intentions are different, have become different. Mine have changed, maybe moved in a different way. What about businesses? Intentions in a business. So I have a friend in town who has a nice little business, and she has quite a collection of tea, which I buy. And she was telling me about the tea company. All the packages say organic, sourced very well, all this wonderful stuff, and yet, they are tasty, and yet they refuse to give her money back for an incorrect invoice. And she was told by the staff there, were told to wait until she kicks back and complains in order to deal with it. Is the intention of this company consistent? And she's good. She says, I'm not a kickback, and I'm not, she really got in their face. She is looking for a new tea company. So the intention of how they handled clients definitely doesn't go along with what the packaging is saying. My GP I'm looking for a new one, by the way. She herself is great, but the medical office she's with. You can call and call and call. If they answer the phone, you're on hold for at least 22 minutes. Most of the time you get a message, they'll call back in a day or 3. Most of the time you don't get a call back. If you go in, they have the people behind the counter. They have the plexiglass all up from COVID times. Signs are plastered all over saying, don't tap the glass, don't knock on the glass, don't bother us. Remember to be kind to us. The place is plastered with signs saying, don't bother us. What's the intention here? Is it wellness? Is it to help you? I don't think so. And of course, it brings out the worst in me. I want to go up to that glass and go, wah, 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 wah. I have not done that, but it shows that I'm not so spiritual. I've lost a little bit of edge there. Years and years ago, I had an early friend in Dowsing community called Greg Nielsen. I have no idea where he is now. He wrote this little book on meta business. He was incorporating metaphysics in business in the 1980s, before it was like heard of. And when I had my early businesses and whatever, I read it and applied those values. I mean, that was, but now much more is getting onto that. I remember when Oprah was doing Super Soul Sunday, which I just loved, and she was interviewing some people about their businesses. One I remember was the gentleman who started Starbucks. He did start with intention. When he talked about his intentions about the company, you saw it really going through in a very positive way. I don't know what it's like now, but she interviewed several people who really did start with thought out intention. Very much so. Now let's look at Wellspring, our community we're in here, right? When I had been teaching dowsing over here for quite a while, and then I decided to come in for Sunday services and just see what this part was about. And quietly, what I do in anything like that is I read what's printed about that organization to see if I fit in. Is this something I can live with? Are there words or precepts or doctrine that isn't me I can't live with? So let's look at it. Our vision: to elevate spiritual consciousness in our world. That's intention. Our mission: to support individual spiritual quests through a celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. Wonderful intention. So as I got to know Wellspring and looked at what all was put out about it, I knew I could be here. There was nothing here that didn't go in with my own intention. I remember as a kid in Catholic Church listening to the Nicene Creed and other things, and by the time I was 11, I'm listening and I'm going, nope, nope, nope. I knew that was not my intention. I knew that. So in summary, knowing specifically what your intentions are and understanding how they guide and direct you in every action you take is key to your spiritual journey. For me, being with people, sharing knowledge, ideas, hopefully helping soul growth is very much my soul's intention. I am grateful beyond measure for each and every one of you, for this opportunity to share, and for the Wellspring spiritual community. Now, I'm going to reread about the 5 things, and then we're going to go into a little guided meditation. I'm getting some nods. Y'all like that idea. So, because you're dying to take out a piece of paper and start writing. I'm going to take my guitar pick and I'm going to write. So we'll do a little guided meditation where you can think on that. It's a hard little topic, isn't it? Only 5? Just as a hint, I started kind of grouping mine. A little art kit had, paper and charcoal and colored pencils. And that to me was one little art kit. And, anyway, you like that back there. Okay, so I'm going to reread that. Okay, so you know right now that just before bedtime tonight, you're going to lose your memory for 6 weeks. You're still you, but for 6 weeks, you have no long-term memories. For support, you gather 5 iconic things that will be accompanied by a note you write. The things will be a visual prompt to remind you of who you are. And the note that you write will provide a brief explanation of why each is important to you. Now here's her example. This could help some of you. Her 5 things: a blank book, a fine point pen, dictionary, a photo of her favorite group of humans, and some stamped unaddressed envelopes. For her, the blank book is an invitation to discover significant truths through writing. She's a writer, first and foremost. The fine point pen pack allows her to rainbow mark her world with form and word. She's an artist. She likes the dictionary because most of her word explanation is in there. She's a learner. And she holds her friends and her circle as her beloveds. And she loves to encourage and uplift others, and that's why she has the cards and envelopes to send them wonderful little notes. That's her. And that should give you an idea. And what I'll do is ring our little chime, and then I will put us in a little guided journey, which will be our affirmation practice for this morning. I'm going to ask that as I speak, you not mentally get in the way of what comes into your mind. Give in to the first impressions, feelings, or views that you get. Don't rationalize the information. Just follow the directions of my voice. We know we are gathered here by our spirit team and source and ascended masters, known and unknown to us. We ask them for the appropriate spiritual assistance that are necessary for this meditation today. And we are surrounded by protective divine light. I humbly ask for them to allow me to act as facilitator, to allow this group to communicate with their higher self and source. We are in gratitude. Take a breath. And another. And a third. Seek a color, any color of your own choice. Take that color into your energetic and physical body and let it move around your body, mind, and spirit. When you have taken in all that is needed, then just take another big, deep breath. Now take in another color. What next color is waiting to come into you? Observe how it's coming into you, where it's going. How does it feel? Let it heal, balance, and energize your body. And when it is done, take another big, deep breath. Take a third color in. Again, noticing how it comes in, where it goes. How does it feel? What does it do? And when that one is done, take another deep breath. Now, we seal all these colors with a translucent, sparkling, clear coat that comes in through our crown chakra. This comes floating down and encapsulates all of us in a beautiful coat combining all. And when that's done, take another big, deep breath. Seek a sound, a tone, a musical note of your own choice. Take in that sound and its vibration into your energetic and physical body. Let it heal, balance, and energize your body, mind, and spirit. Take in what is needed. And when done, take a nice, big, deep breath. Seek a fragrance, a smell, a scent, or aroma. Take that fragrance and its vibration into your energetic and physical body. Notice how it feels. And when you have taken all that's needed, take a nice, big, deep breath. Now, in reference to our exercise of 5 things to remember who we are, we seek a symbol that would be beneficial to each of you at this time. A symbol. Here especially, do not let your head get in the way. What comes in? And now I will ask you to quietly dialogue about this symbol or with this symbol. You can ask questions about it, what it means, or ask where it to lead you to something else that you need to go to. Follow it. Wherever it leads you, to help you know or deeper understand and remember your soul's intention and your intention. I will leave you quietly to do this a little bit more. And if I stop your process too soon, all you have to do in a quiet time later is go back to it and ask for it to resume. It will be there. Now I ask you quietly to open your eyes and to come back with us in the present as we contemplate what we have heard today and hopefully what stirs our soul to more true, deeper, and better understanding of the gift of life we were given to come here on this planet today. Namaste. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, do whatever you need to do.
There is a YouTube, look under my name, that I've had out for many years of that meditation in a longer form. If you really liked it, I have it out there just called Guided Meditation. And I think it's profound. It has helped me in my life often. And it was gifted to me by a mentor and friend many years ago who's since passed, and I've added to it over the years. But it is out there for you to tune on and listen to. Sorry.
Well. Yeah. For my second piece, I usually bring several because I like to hopefully enhance what the speaker has just done. And this is not one that I expected to come up, so here we go.
Go with it.
What's so wonderful about intentions and setting intentions for me is that I always have Spirit come in and help with the guidance of that. 30 years ago, I decided I was going to no longer sing, and that was it for music for me. And the next thing I knew, a young man by the name of Bob Burns showed up in my life, and 4 months later we were married. While we were dating, I sent him a little poem called The Divine Weaver, you may be all familiar with. And literally this was one of his 15-minute songs that came from that poem. And as you were speaking, I thought, oh, okay, this is the one I need to share today.
Okay.
It's called The Weaver. God weaves a pattern in me, one that I will eventually see. The dark threads are woven to make me behold. The patterns are covered with silver and gold. Weave a pattern in me today, a pattern of silver and gold. Silver for the peaceful dove, and gold for unending love. That's one of my intentions, to live in peace. The colors I choose get tangled and swirled. The canvas sees sorrows of this world, but God's art reveals His wondrous plan. She skillfully molds me in her hand. Weave a pattern in me today, a pattern of silver and gold. Silver for the peaceful dove, and gold for unending love. guides me through times of toil. When ego causes my life to spoil, the loom of God's artfulness looms over me, untangles mistakes and lets me go free. Weave a pattern in me today, a pattern of silver and gold. Silver for the peaceful dawn, and gold for unending love.
Thank you, Melody. And thank you, Jeanne. Thank you all for being here. We couldn't do it without you, by the way. So it's now time for our offering, and I see Jim back there with the basket as he wants to bring it on up here. Thank you, Jim. As we acknowledge and receive our virtual and in-person gifts, we give thanks for the abundance of the universe. We know that Spirit always says yes. All of our needs can be met, are met, as we accept that which we allow ourselves to accept. So we give thanks for these gifts. We also share them with a greater community in the form of tithing. Thank you, Jim. All right, there are a number of folks who've contributed to today's production. We're grateful for those in the back who sometimes are unseen. I guess if they're doing their job, they would be unseen, right? Thank you, Brenda, and thank you, Edwin. And thanks to our musicians and our speaker. I saw this out of the corner of my eye. I thought it was full of butterflies. It's beautiful. Yeah. And thank you, Judy, for putting the slides together. So, following the service, please join us in the social hall. And those of you who are on Zoom, we thank you for joining us on Zoom today. And we hope to see you again. So please stand if you're able and read with me the benediction, followed by our peace song. And if you can't read the benediction up here, it's on the back of, or on the front of the monthly handout. Spirit in the midst of us is mighty. Joy, peace, and eternal life are our true nature and flow through us into the world. And so it is.
Peace and